weeks or so, we have been engaged in a spiritual initiative that's been entitled We Are God's Church. And that was followed in the last 3 weeks by Pray, Pledge, and Participate. And I hope you all have enjoyed that. I hope you've been inspired by it. I can tell you that I have been, and our group that came up with the idea for this initiative, we all have been inspired by it. This initiative is a result of the Lord speaking through one of our members, Brad Griffin. I know many of you know Brad. If you don't, you really should get to know Brad. He is a remarkable servant of God and opened his mind and his heart to God's conversation with him, and this initiative has been a product of that. You've seen our little, I don't know what to call it, other than a puzzler that has been revealed to mean that we're asking people to pray 10% more in 2015, to pledge 10% more in 2015, and to participate 10% more. And you see the banner out in our Hall of History, and you see signatures on it. I would ask any of you who have not signed it, who are willing to make that commitment to pray, pledge, and participate 10% more in 2015, please sign it. You will note on that banner I did this morning that the absolute worst signature on there is my own. My handwriting is awful, and there are many examples of beautiful handwriting on there. I really feel like I sort of tarnished it. I think that you think you know what I'm going to say this morning. You think I'm going to talk about all the reasons that Jarvis needs your money, what our budget is, why we need more money, etc. I think I'm going to fool you, because guess what? I don't know what the budget is for 2015. I have some idea of what it might be, but I haven't asked, because it really doesn't matter to me when I think about stewardship and giving. What I do care about, talking about this morning, is your happiness, your joy, your peace. Yes, happiness. Now, what does that have to do with talking about your money? Give me 2 or 3 minutes and I'll see if I can pull that together for you. But isn't happiness what we all want? Joy, peace, goodness, contentment, and peace of mind. All those wonderful things we read about, the fruit of the Spirit being from Galatians 5:22 and 23. Isn't that what we all want? But human nature would lead us to try to find satisfaction in other things, wouldn't it? Making money, accumulating money, success, whatever success is in our society. Toys and playthings, trips and vacations, homes and second homes, fame and reputation, power and influence. Now, I will tell you all this morning that for 25 years, from age 18 to 43, those are things that I pursued. That's where my life was focused. I was not focused on that. Now, what did I get from that? I got a great family, a great job, a great life, and I was absolutely stinking miserable. Stinking miserable, yes, it is a Beaufort County expression. But I was clinically depressed and treated for it. I worked for 6 weeks because of it. And I'm not embarrassed by that bit. In fact, now I'm happy to say it's the best thing that ever happened to me because it changed my life in wonderful ways. But folks, those things that I just listed are not what make us happy. Our law firm is blessed to have a number of very well-to-do clients with plenty of money, toys, fame, power. And I can tell you that for those people, there's no correlation between those things and happiness. So, what does make us happy? Well, when I was depressed, and I worked for 6 weeks, I started reading the Bible. I hadn't done that in 25 years. Every time I did it, I felt a little bit better each time I read it. That was the clue for me. But I learned all that as well. I learned that Jesus turned the world upside down and inside out. Jesus said things like, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Do not judge others. If someone slaps you on the cheek, don't fight back. Turn the other cheek." Stevenson's had trouble with that one. Love each other as I love you. Love your enemies. 2 big ones that really speak to me. From Matthew 25, I was hungry and you fed me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was homeless and you took me in. When you do those things for others, you're doing them for me. That's exactly what that directly to me, I'm very blessed. Much is expected from Steve Stevenson. But Jesus taught us instead of focusing on grabbing and gathering and accumulating, life is about what we're doing for others. Life is about service. Life is about giving. Okay? So what does that have to do with happiness? Still, some of you may remember Albert Schweitzer. Albert Schweitzer was a medical missionary to Africa when I was a kid in the middle of the 20th century. I know some of you young people think that I was a kid at the beginning of the 20th century. That rumor is not true. But Albert Schweitzer was a medical missionary. He caught my attention when I was young and impressionable. And in recent years, I've read some of the things he said. One of the things he said was, one thing I do know, the only ones of you who will be truly happy are those who have sought and found how to serve. The only ones of you who will be truly happy are those of you who have sought and found how to serve. There we have it. Our happiness is tied to our service. We are made to serve, we are built to serve, and our happiness comes from serving. We can serve with our time and talents, and we can serve with our money. This morning, the subject is serving with our money. When we support our church financially, we are serving others. We are serving God. God rewards us in many ways for that, and one of those ways is to bring us that contentment, joy, happiness that we all seek. No, when we serve, all our problems do not go away. That's the nature of life. We all have problems and challenges. But when we turn our attention to God's work and to others, when we serve, we become far better able to manage life's difficulties and challenges. God does bring that to us. That's that contentment and happiness and peace that we're looking for. For me, giving is not about percentages. Tithing 10% is an Old Testament standard promulgated before the birth of Christ. With the gift, God's gift of Christ to us, many of us may and should be motivated to give far more than 10% to God's work. For me, it's not about percentages. It's about letting go. It's about turning loose and trying to figure out how much that Linda and I can give to God's work. And we do get a lot of pleasure from that mindset. And we get pleasure from acting on that mindset. How do I know that giving brings happiness? Because giving makes me happy. And I know others who feel the same way. And I'm looking around this room right now, I see others who I know feel the same way. One last thought. You cannot outgive God. You cannot outgive God. You've heard that one. God will always bring to us more than we take to Him. Now, this morning, this is my third service. You think I did it right initially. But this morning, after I made my comments, I walked down and deposited my pledge card in that box right there. And yes, I did increase my giving by 10% this year. And at this point in time, I would like to ask those of you who are prepared to make your pledges, if you would, to step out, come down front, and put your pledge card in one of these two boxes. And thank you, and God bless each and every one of them. Please do come down.